All right, welcome to the Reach 11 Sports Complex. Coming at you about a minute into this first quarter with this top 25 matchup with Brigham Young facing off with Michigan State. This is the 7th meetup between these two teams in program history, with the vast majority of the victories going Brigham Young's way. The lone victory for Michigan State, a 2011 home victory in Michigan. So definitely one of those matchups, rivalries, if you want to call it that, that's been going BYU's way. I'm Chris Marshall, joined by Jeremy Sieverts, and definitely excited to be out here to see this.
Yeah, looking for an exciting matchup here between BYU and Michigan State. Michigan State losing yesterday to Chapman, and BYU with a nice victory last night over Grand Canyon University. So looked to be an even match here early in the game. Both teams feeling one another out. Looks like Michigan State opting to shut off with a short stick behind the goal. But excited to be here, obviously, and looking for an exciting game between Michigan State and BYU.
And that's probably a pretty good call. There's a nice save inside for Michigan State. That's Alamang, the captain between the pipes, as Michigan State moves the ball forward. And one of the players to watch definitely is on the BYU side of the ball, number 6, Mike Fabrizio, who's been red hot early in this season. And one of the big reasons they've been having success, dropped a kind of a head scratcher against San Diego State, but a huge victory yesterday against Grand Canyon as one of the top teams in the nation. So
Yeah.
BYU definitely coming back strong.
Yeah, Fabrizio had a really nice game last night, very composed, putting some points on the board. And who I was impressed with last night for BYU was goaltender Matt Brandenburg. I mean, at one point he was just standing on his head. BYU was down a couple men. He made 3 saves in a row, and then subsequently gave up a goal, but was still so pumped up from those 3 goals. Just was fired up, giving fist pounds out to all his defense. So really impressed with Brandenburg last night, and we'll be looking for him to have a great game here today.
Fabrizio looking to get his hands free, loses his defender. There's 3-4 guys coming towards him, takes the shot. Great save by Alamang. And there's another one off the pipe. BYU not wasting any time, getting some shots off early. And one thing to look at is the matchup at the faceoff X. Captain Joseph Mickelson, the senior, definitely one of the top faceoff guys in the country this season. So that's something that they're going to need to take advantage of. And what a finish. That one coming from Jack Fabrizio, the freshman, as he's able to get by his defenseman and pin that one top corner.
Yeah, nice job by Jack Fabrizio, getting a nice little hitch move, improving his angle, and then dropping the head of his stick but pulling it to the near side high. Tough save for Alamang there on the inside shot from Jack Fabrizio.
And again, talking about this matchup at the faceoff X, let's see what BYU is going to be able to do. They lost the first one to Mickelson. Had the opportunity to talk to Coach Hartley after the victory against Michigan State, and he was happy that Chapman was able to win about 30% of the faceoffs against him. So definitely someone that these teams scout for. And there's a nice play from Brigham Young to get the ball out of his stick, but finally picked up by Sparty. A nice little swim move, but the ball comes back out. Got the Deke coming back the other direction from Kearney. And Michigan State does well to get that ground ball, but no give up on the ride from BYU as you see the Michigan State players run into each other. A little friendly fire.
And that's exactly what BYU is going to have to do, and what Chapman did yesterday to win faceoffs against a talented faceoff man for Michigan State. Make it a 3-on-3 ground ball rather than just a one-on-one, Fogo battle, if you will.
Fabrizio comes in tight, loses defenseman, turns him around. Didn't realize that he was coming back towards the goal. So definitely, be on the lookout because Mike Fabrizio seems to be feeling it early. At Alamang bringing the ball up. And both of these teams, very much blue collar lacrosse teams. They're going to try and hit you in the mouth and play hard and do the best that they can, and a lot of effort as Alamang comes across. But these teams not afraid to dig in and take some big hits. It's Ensley.
We got a flyover there, Chris.
That's nice. Look at that. Here for the LAX Coaches versus Cancer.
About a half dozen planes flying in formation right over Reach 11 Park here.
That is just neat. Down to under 10 minutes to go in the first quarter here. 1-0 lead for BYU as they look to try and get the clear across. And that went just off the mark, and unable to come up with it right there is Westcott, another freshman. Been calling a lot of freshman numbers here in these games at the LAX Coaches versus Cancer. Basically a free clear as Robbins brings it across for the Spartans. At Malucci. Seeing Spartans sub through the midfield here. BYU playing pretty tight defense, not letting Michigan State get much. There's a nice switch as they're coming up from down low. There's Sims.
Michigan State really spreading out the BYU defense right now, vacating the crease, giving a lot of space to their Dodgers. Probably hoping that BYU will slide adjacent and create some offense for Michigan State.
BYU playing way out on defenses. Nesser trying to disrupt the passing lane,
nice
and
job.
he does, as they're able to create a turnover.
Nesser, the type of guy that's kind of been all over the field last night against Grand Canyon, and even had a goal. Works hard between the lines and kind of just being a pest right there, keeping a stick in the gloves of Michigan State on offense and causing a turnover.
There, got the black mamba there, black shaft, black head, black mesh. Pretty aggressive setup. BYU back into their offense. I mean, very much an attack-driven offense. He's got both Fabrizios, who are very crafty. And there's the shot, another big save coming from Alamain. Alamain's going to be a pretty busy boy today. Here at just under 8 minutes to play in the first.
Nice move.
So Westcott gets the ball inside, and we've seen all three of the BYU attackmen utilize that quick rollback.
Yeah, he did a nice job there using the back of the goal to his advantage. He drives hard left-handed to X. As his defenseman steps over the back of the goal, he quickly changes directions, causing his defenseman to also change directions and then work back over the back of the cage right there. Just a nice fundamental dodge there from Westcott.
Something that we've seen a lot of the kind of smaller, quicker attackmen utilize. And guys like Billy Bitter, Mikey Powell, taking advantage of that inside. Nice look, and there's
great save.
Huge save.
Bradenberg
coming up big. Basically a one-on-one opportunity for Michigan State, as they were able to get free on the cut. Fantastic pass and even better save.
Yeah, nice job by Bradenberg there, just kind of reading the shot low and putting his body behind it, making a nice save. One of those that you don't expect your goalie to make, but when he does, you're thrilled for him and for the team.
And there's going to be a push against Johnson going Spartans' way. They're looking to move the ball up the field. It's like trying to get their personnel ironed out. As we see what the call is from the official. And looks like they're going to bring the ball back to the Spartans' defensive side of the field. It looked like they tried to get a quick whistle pass all the way up the field as BYU was subbing, but going to have to do it again here. That's Donovan starting with it. Back to Alamain. Alamain walking it up. The guy, pretty athletic kid, not afraid to bring it across. We saw that earlier. We see BYU shutting off.
Yeah, BYU really
side, matching feet.
Yeah, exactly, matching feet, staying on the same side of the field as their man. Right there, Michigan State's offsides.
And great ride, really paying off for Brigham Young, forcing Alamain to make a play there.
Yeah, in that case, when you're when they're riding matching feet, you got to have your middies come back. Ultimately, you have 7 against their 6, and maybe have the attack work a little harder to get the ball out of Alamain's hands. BYU electing to let him carry the ball up the field, but ultimately he is your goalie and you need to get the ball out of his stick.
There's Jordan takes the shot, and that one bounces over the top of the cage. Alamein in pretty good position. Back to Westcott. You see Westcott alone behind the cage, trying to work off some of the picks. There's the BTB shot. That one off the mark. But Arbon doing well to improve his angle there.
Yeah, Jake Arbon left with no other choice there but the behind the back. And really, you can't fault him for doing it in that situation. Nice effort by Arbon there.
Jack Fabrizio gets by his man, has that left hand free, and that one right at Alamein once again. Now Mike Fabrizio bringing the ball in.
Michigan State with a very early slide there behind.
You see just the amount of respect they have for Fabrizio, the All-American player from BYU. He's definitely had a lot of success over the seasons. It's going to be over and back going against Brigham Young. Nice look inside.
Save.
Huge save by Bradenberg once again. And like you mentioned, picking up right where he left off. And no call for the push, so that ball's going to go back for the Cougars.
Bradenberg willing to use his body to take away any bit of the goal that the attackman sees. He does a nice job getting underneath there, coming to the top of the crease, but Bradenberg just stands tall, explodes high, and gets a chunk of that ball with his body. A great save, again, from Bradenberg.
Again, Brigham Young in the white and Michigan State in the green. So we see a roll pass up to Bertha. As they get their offensive unit onto the field. Bertha takes it behind. Nice switch.
Pretty slow pace of the game so far, Chris. 1-0 game here. 4 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Neither team doing anything too special on either end of the field, but kind of seem to be feeling one another out so far later into this first quarter.
There's Jack Fabrizio trying to get free. And we have seen some pretty solid goalie play out of both of these squads. And Westcott takes the shot and that one off the mark, but a lot of wide shots.
Yeah, you've seen a couple of nice saves from Brandenburg, and Allman has stood tall in the goal so far as well. Look to see the offenses get a little bit more comfortable running their sets and get the shots that they're looking for as the game progresses here late into the first quarter.
And that was Fabrizio trying to get a pass in. That one knocked down by Kearney, and then Kearney able to bat it off of Fabrizio and out of bounds to get the Spartans' possession back. And still matching feet across the midline. I have to think you'd like to see some of the attackmen that are low come up and create some space and help their goalie out.
So if he carries, okay.
Kearney with the crossfield pass. It's a nice look as Marvin gets it across for Sparty.
Got to get a touch.
And just barely getting in, taking some pretty serious heat with Scarpelli. Now Malucci.
The ride by BYU is certainly causing some difficulty or frustration for Michigan State. Barely getting in before the 30-second count there, and fair clear the last time.
There's a shot, and that one off the mark, but a possession shot for the Spartans. That one coming from Ben Acker. Back to Malucci. He's working on Rick Rose, the sophomore defenseman. Again, BYU pushing really far out on the adjacents, making Michigan State have to make sure their passes are coming in. And there's a great finish in the goal right along. A lot of individual effort coming from Jack Van Acker, the freshman.
Yeah, nice take there by Van Acker. He does a good job behind the goal, a little explosive move, and then tucks his stick. That final trail check coming from the BYU defense. Smart play by him to tuck his stick, bring it in front of his face, continue moving to the top of the crease, increasing his angle with every step, and a nice finish past Bradenberg.
Yeah, not a whole lot you're going to be able to do if you're Bradenberg there, as Michigan State ties it up with 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this very first quarter. Game moving by pretty quickly without, pretty pretty clean game. No penalties yet. As Mickelson comes down, takes the shot, another big save by Bradenburg.
Nice outlet.
He goes right up the field on the money. Stossen gets it.
There we go.
And there's the big one
nice
from
save.
outside. A lot of zip on that one. A lot of confidence Nestor has in his stick.
Oh, big hit.
And there you're going to see the penalty flag come out. Looked like a pretty clean hit, but a little higher than the officials really wanted to see.
Another one.
And that one comes in.
Wow.
What an individual effort coming from Danny Myers as he's able to hold on to the ball after taking a big hit from Bradenburg and finish that play off. That's a huge momentum goal for Michigan State.
Oh, absolutely. It starts with a save from Alamang on the high-to-high shot from Max Nestor, excuse me. An outlet pass from Alamang that might have been a little bit of a hospital pass. Michigan State takes a big hit, flag down. They'll go on the man up. You know, right there, you finally break the clear from BYU. Break the ride from BYU, get a man up and get a goal. So a lot of positive things happening there for Michigan State. As long as the one player, I'm not sure who that was that took that hit, is all right.
Looks like it might have been Mickelson. So that's certainly a guy you don't want to get laid up.
Yeah, that was a big hit at midfield. And I think, you know, pretty clean looking. I guess the one argument you'd make on behalf of the official is that the term of the indefensible player. He's turning upfield kind of blind and gets hit there. In this day and age of lacrosse, that's going to be a penalty every single time.
And Mickelson able to win it back to himself. That's a real heads-up play. No wing player for Brigham Young on that side of the field.
And they'll go man up here, as always, to get a high percentage shot from Michigan State, be pretty deliberate, and they'll take a timeout here to talk it over.
I mean, if you're Michigan State, what are you telling your players here?
I think you just want to be patient and you know, you stick to your man-up plays that you've worked on in practice, and you want to just read the defense and just kind of see what they come out in, make sure that they're not pressuring anywhere, and you're prepared for that. And then, you know, you want to just take a great shot here. You don't want to take the first one that becomes available to you. You want to make sure you're patient and get a great shot. You know, Brandenburg has really shown his talent in the goal, so you got to get a good shot from a good spot on the field, and that's what you're looking to get more than anything if you're Michigan State on this man up. And
how can Brigham Young get a little more balance in their offense right now? They seem to be struggling to get some good shots.
Yeah, I think they've done an okay job offensively. Alamang has been solid, made the stops that he's needed to, especially the one right there on Nestor. I think, you know, probably grinding through the possessions a little bit longer. You know, you think about making every single one of Michigan State's defenders defend, not just taking the first shot again, as we discussed. So both teams, again, still kind of feeling themselves out. A big momentum goal there a minute and a half ago out of Michigan State. Now they're on the man up, a chance to, you know, grow this lead to 2 at the end of the first quarter. And these are big opportunities here late in the quarter. You're man up to create a good bit of momentum going into the second quarter.
And this is a huge game for Michigan State, especially. You get a team like Brigham Young, they play in the RMLC, which is one of the top conferences, so they're going to get quality games later in the season. Colorado State, Westminster, and you know, be able to afford to lose one of these games early. I mean, these are the biggest games of the season for Michigan State. There's a shot, and that one sneaks in on the near side. Looks like it got the side, but Greg Colas, no mistake about it, is that one is a huge goal.
Yeah, Michigan State really not doing a whole lot there offensively. It looked like they were set up in a circle set. Ball gets moved over to Colas. He senses a little bit of hesitation out of the BYU man-down defense and just steps in. Looks like he beat Bradenburg to the near side on a nice overhand shot.
Yeah, and back to what I was saying about Michigan State. I mean, these games this weekend where they've got Chapman, BYU, and then Grand Canyon kind of back to back are the highest rated teams they're going to see for a couple weeks before they go out and play Colorado State. So I mean, to get some momentum now and head back and play some league games at home, it would be a huge deal for them and a big boost in their position in the polls.
Here he comes.
Mickelson slows up a little bit before he takes that shot and takes a couple of quick checks. But possession shot for Michigan State, now holding on to that 2-goal lead as we dip under a minute to play in the first quarter.
Yeah, if I'm Michigan State here, I look to take the air out of the ball and finish with the ball down at this end. So I want to, probably hold the ball till about 20, 25 seconds and make sure that at worst we're taking the last shot of the quarter, not giving BYU an opportunity to get a goal late in the quarter.
And that one takes a little bit of a funny bounce as it gets by Ensley, and the ball is going to be going the other direction. Unlucky as the pass goes out of bounds. BYU bringing it up. It's Bradenberg. We've seen both teams pressuring pretty hard on the ride, as opting for a little bit more of a zone look across the front, and that's a great look as Alec Grant sneaks across the midline. Down to the last 12 seconds, going to have to get a shut off pretty quickly. There's the shot, and that one maybe not the one they were looking for, as they're down to 8 seconds, and that one's going to stay with BYU as Westcott brings it in. This guy pushing above GLE, nice look across, and there's a big save once again as the defense collapsing, and that's going to do it for the first quarter, and that's a big momentum play for Michigan State as they go into the second.
Yeah, you don't keep the ball down at your end. Unfortunately, you turn it over with about 25 seconds to go. BYU comes down, gets a couple shots, but you're able to withstand that little flurry and go into the end of the quarter up 2 goals.
Yeah, and this is a tough run of games for BYU as well. They've got 3 games in 3 days, coming away with a victory against Minnesota, 21-9, and a big victory yesterday against Grand Canyon. It was a very complete game for them. Very few mistakes, surgical precision that you expect to see out of a BYU squad. And now taking Michigan State on in the 3rd straight game, looks like maybe some of the fatigue setting in for this BYU team.
Yeah, no doubt. I got to be on the game last night with BYU. I was really impressed. They showed a lot of maturity, a lot of experience, especially in the offensive end of the field. And we've already talked about Bradenberg a good bit and his performance last night. But 3 games in 3 days is tough for any squad. So, BYU, I'd expect them to kind of find their groove here a little bit in the second quarter. As these teams continue to feel themselves out a little bit and the game opens up. And I think it'll be interesting to watch the riding and clearing game for each team. Both teams having a little bit of difficulty figuring out one another's ride. And once you can kind of figure that out, you'll afford yourself some opportunities in transition that can give you some easy goals. So we'll see what the coaches make in terms of adjustments in their clearing game against both teams' rides that have been pretty formidable so far.
Yeah, and this is one of those situations where it gives some of the younger guys an idea of what it's like to play in the national tournament, where you're going to have 3 games in 3 days or 3 games in 4 days against top-level competition. The tournament out in Southern California, starting at UC Irvine and then going to Chapman University. And so you're going to have to deal with this heat and playing good teams, and gives them an opportunity to know what that feels like.
Yeah, there's no better preparation, I don't think, to ready yourself for the MCLA championships. So, a good opportunity, not really a make or break weekend for any team, but an opportunity to really start your season off the right way, going kind of towards the middle of the season here already.
Yeah, where's the month gone? Nice lift from BYU on that play, forces the errant pass, and that was Barrett Johnson on defense. Again, into that zone look as the attackmen's spread out across the midline, forcing Bradenberg to make a move. Wallace finds himself open. Nice look inside. Nesser loves to take that shot. Buries it falling down. What a finish. Pins that one top corner. No chance at all for Alamein.
BYU showing a lot of faith in their long stick midi, Max Nesser, throwing it to him inside of the box as a long stick. Not ideally where you want to be throwing the ball when you're trying to break clear, but Nesser does a great job handling the ball, turning with pressure on him, and then burying it to the offside high of Alamein.
Yeah, I mean that's just exciting lacrosse as Nesser gets his 6th goal of the young season. Certainly a guy who's looking to put some points on the board.
Yeah, very capable offensively with his long pole.
And one of the things that you know, I've noticed with some of these top level MCLA teams that that happens a little bit more than even at the NCAA level, are polls that really stay down on offense and make an impact. I know over the years we've had some All-American defensemen from Chapman and other schools get into double digits scoring goals, and it's something that's pretty exciting to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think we discussed in the last game, goals when they're scored by a player and a team with a long stick almost count for a goal and a half, just the momentum it brings to your team.
That's another big save as Jack Fabrizio turns the corner. Going to be a possession shot for Brigham Young. Westcott brings it in at the 13:25 mark in the first half. Nice switch. As a lift gets in there. Ball thrown away by Brigham Young. And that was Meekum. Now back to Alamang. Seems really confident running this clear. Seems like they always go back to him. Interesting still to see that none of the attackmen.
It's going to be offsides right here. I'm sorry, miscounted.
Big time play, heavy on the hands of the long pole there. He does exactly what he needs to do, and then kicked out of bounds in a tough break for Fulkerson, as that one's going to stay with Michigan State.
Not really breaking that clear by any means. You're getting fortunate there. You end up bringing the ball over the long stick with an attackman or a midfielder riding him pretty hard. Pretty fortunate to get the ball back there. Still have yet to see either team clear the ball with any bit of confidence and any bit of structure, for lack of a better term.
And then unable to gain any advantage there, subbing through the midfield, as BYU able to make an adjustment coming through the box on that sub. And one thing to look out for, especially towards the end of this first half and into the third quarter, is the effect of the sun. Any passes that are going to be heading from this side of the field, or towards this side of the field, are going to be really tough to see for any of the players. I know something that we saw as a factor in the games last night.
Ooh.
As there's another big hit. No flag, clean hit, but ball's going to stay with Michigan State.
Just a loose ball there, so no possession, so no flag.
It's Van Acker. Scored a great goal earlier, starting with the ball. And that's solid short stick defense. Looks like he's probably going to get a cross check. Van Acker turns the corner, gets the ball up top. There's the shot and a big save. And that one's going to go the way of Michigan State, as we're going to get a flag down here. See what the call is. It's going to be a hold, 30-second technical, going against Kevin Wallace. It's our second look at the extra man unit for Michigan State. Able to capitalize on their last opportunity, going 1 for 1. .11:30 to go in the first half. 1-goal deficit, 3-2 lead for Michigan State.
So pretty different setup here for Michigan State offensively as far as their man up goes. Last time we saw them set up in a circle set. Right now appear to be set up in a 1-4-1. We'll see what they kind of try to do. Most of the time when you're set up in a 1-4-1, you'll quickly rotate off of the crease to put 5 or 6 guys again on the perimeter. And we'll see them probably drag to do that.
Got a lot of space inside. BYU does well.
Drag.
Nice skip pass.
Nice move.
Face dodge comes inside, and what a trail check. Probably saved a goal with that one.
Nice job.
And the ball goes out of bounds. BYU going to be able to run out the rest of this penalty with just 7 seconds to go until they're back to full strength. Nice clear, man down. As Arbonne brings it in. And Arbonne looks like he's just going to hold on to it. Has some space. As BYU now back to full strength. The 10:45 mark. And there's a big shaft save by Alamang as Zach Jordan got the shot off. Westcott with it. 10:20 to go in the first half. Still a 1-goal lead for Michigan State. Jack Fabrizio working hard, trying to get free, and he's into the crease. Ball goes in, but he was definitely in the crease before he finished that one off. But heads-up play, trying to knock it in anyway. Both teams having a little bit of success taking advantage of the quick whistle and not letting the defense set up on the ride.
Yeah, one way to avoid dealing with that settled clear is to just get the ball up and out quickly. And we've seen both teams, BYU and Michigan, take advantage of that quick whistle to avoid having to go against that settled ride from the other team.
Joe Chase over to Marmon.
Oh,
Maumon. As he loses the handle again. BYU back on offense. Westcott comes to the rescue. Finds some space in the middle, takes the shot, and that one too tall. Backed up by Jack Fabrizio.
Michigan State's not checked up here.
And that one, pipe to pipe. Can't do anything about that one as Alex Grant finds the back of the net, and definitely a defensive breakdown for Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State not really checking up as the ball goes out on the end line. Great job by BYU getting the ball off the end line, encouraging that quick whistle from the referee, and then having her head up and looking to push the ball ahead to a wide open man who makes no mistake and puts that one away.
Yeah, and definitely having some teams here grinding it out 3-3 at the 9:14 mark in the first half. Not the same kind of scoring we saw from BYU yesterday, who put 10 in the back of the net in the first half last night. Mickelson again able to get it back. Ball still down as McLean trying to get his stick on it for the Spartans. And finally BYU pulls it up. There's Hanley, and we've seen pretty impressive stick work from the long pole from BYU today. Nice look inside, can't come up with it, though, as Stevens is now heading back the other direction. Alamein thinking about the long pass, walks it up. It's under 8.5 minutes to play. BYU still matching feet. And there's a great play from Kearney as he takes his man away and then leaves room across the field.
Oh.
And there's the shot. Bradenburg saw that one. Looks like right at him. Maybe would have been better off going high to high as Bradenburg already dropping down when he looked to take that shot.
Yeah, a tendency for a long pole shooting straight over the top is to pull it down low. Bradenburg does a nice job following the ball from the long stick. A lot of times it's so difficult because it's such a high release point. From the long stick, he does a nice job tracking that ball to make the save.
And certainly more challenging to send that high to high with the long pole. He makes that goal from Nesser early on even more impressive. And there's a great shot. Alamein able to find that one, makes that save with the body. It's great positioning. Alamein thinks about sending that one across the field to Todd, but opts to slow it down again. And Kearney can't see that one, and that's the sun that we talked about, as Kearney never saw that one at all. Westcott sends it in, and then can't come up with it, and Alamein able to get it. No call on the push.
Missed push there.
And the crowd letting the official hear it, as Alec Grant went to the ground.
He's got a man in the middle.
Didn't see him. Alamein going to bring it across himself and to make the dangerous pass. But well done to turn away from the pressure is Scarpelli. Now Ensley, been quiet so far. Scarpelli thinks about the shot, drops the ball, and able to pull it back out. 6:40 to go in the first half, still 3-3 game. Now Van Acker. Myers playing
Nice
the two-man game. Almost loses the handle. Now Scarpelli. Might be a good time for Van Acker. Dangerously close to a ward there. Ball almost sneaks all the way through, but picked up by Michigan State. BYU playing way out on Horton. Gets the switch. Horton now with the shorty. Looking to dodge, gets above GLE, takes the shot. That one's going to stay with Michigan State. Ensley bringing it in. 5:40 to go in the first half. It's a quick double.
Oh, big hit.
Scarpelli tucks his stick in before getting that shot off. Another possession shot for Michigan State. Myers now. And Scarpelli up to Van Acker. Van Acker by his man, quick double. Nice look inside, that one batted down and picked up. Klinger trying to get free, loses the handle, and Van Acker gets it back.
Nice job there by Michigan State on the ride, earning another possession for their offense.
Ensley working on the pole. Again, anytime Michigan State gets inside, look for that inside roll. The slide is waiting for him at the 4:45 mark. Myers turns the corner. Nice handle by Colas. Turns the corner, takes the shot. Big save by Bradenberg. And again, tough ride by Michigan State. Nice ground ball, sends it up. And that one's going to go out of bounds. Ball back to Michigan State.
At some point, this is going to come back to bite BYU. These back-to-back turnovers in the clearing game. They're just playing too much defense here, and Michigan State's bound to capitalize off of those mistakes.
Alamein starting with it. 4:15 to go in the first half. Having a lot of success there with Donovan bringing the ball across for Michigan State. Malucci. Nice poke check by Rose. .340 left in the first half. Solon by his man. Looks to feed. And no one open for Malucci. Nice skip pass. And there's the shot, and that one off one of the defensemen, and that feels terrible.
Oh. BYU bench is not happy about that call.
Nearly making something happen on that is Wallace.
Little invert here out of Michigan State.
It's like Tratt likes his matchup. Turns inside, takes the shot, that one off the pipe. Dangerously close to a push again. The ref's letting him play today. Here comes Nesser.
Oh yeah, jump fake.
He's got a pretty good stick.
He does. Sure is confident with the ball on his stick. Saved by a timeout there.
Yeah, as that one snuck in the goal. I mean, you hate to see that if you're a player.
Man, I mean, BYU very fortunate there to get a timeout after you've been on defense for what seems like forever, and then offensively go down and just about throw the ball away. Fortunately, a nice timeout call by the BYU coaching staff.
Yeah, just under 3 minutes to play, having played defense for 3 solid minutes of game time. I mean, you got to be feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, you expect BYU to hopefully settle the ball down a little bit offensively here. Really look for a shot that they want to take, not only to get a great shot, but also to give their defense a little bit of a rest after a long possession on their end.
And BYU definitely with the players that have the ability to get a nice long extended possession, give their defense an even bigger break, as Michigan State hasn't been pressuring too hard out on defense.
Yeah, I'd like to see BYU get some of the Fabrizio brothers involved here. Let them kind of dictate the tempo, initiate from behind the goal, and again, just be very patient and selective in their shots and what they're looking for here in this possession late in the second quarter.
And definitely, Mike Fabrizio having a pretty balanced stat line with 17 goals, 11 assists for 28 points coming into today, and he's a guy who can not only hurt you shooting, but can find the players that want to score. There's a nice check, knocking the ball out of Westcott's stick. Fortunately, kicks it right to Mike Fabrizio.
Nice move.
Fabrizio working on a shorty. This has got to be the matchup BYU wants. Gets by his man, quick double, moves it up top. Skip pass, and there's the shot from outside, and that one too tall.
Nice job there, BYU, taking advantage of the matchup, but getting the ball to the other side of the field where Michigan State's defense is weakest after they slide. Nice move there.
And there's Fabrizio making no doubt about it as he puts BYU back on top. Fakes on fakes on fakes.
Kind of a poor approach there from the slide man from Michigan State, giving Fabrizio too much space. He makes a secondary move on the slide guy, comes around to the front of the goal and puts one past Alamang.
Yeah, and as a defensive midi, when I played in college, I mean that's a position I found myself in pretty frequently as a player, shutting off some of the attackmen. And I think if you're Michigan State, you need a better plan when Fabrizio brings the ball in, get a switch, get a pull down there, pull in the defense from the far man, make them make that pass. But opting to stay with the shorty on him, who did a decent job. But if you're looking at one of the best attackmen in the nation, a shorty's just not going to cut it.
Yeah, you got to look to either get a pull to him to switch the matchup, or to slide early, yeah. Right, and under control too. You're not trying to hit him; you're just trying to shade him to a less dangerous part of the field.
There's a great play, coast to coast by Mickelson, as Michigan State able to get the timeout with 2 minutes and 1 second to go in the first half, down a goal. And what is Michigan State looking to do here on this possession?
Well, you're down a goal here. You're probably looking to reach into the playbook if you have something designed. Maybe see them go back to that invert, which they showed on the last possession. But really kind of just stick to your offense. I think you make the mistake a lot of times in these situations of trying to do a little too much. So just making sure passes, dodging hard, looking to draw a slide, and moving the ball quickly after that initial dodge is what Michigan State will have success if they're able to do that.
And again, 2 minutes, 1 second to go. Pretty evenly matched so far. I think definitely a bigger game on the schedule for Michigan State, coming off that loss against Chapman, 13-6 last night. Definitely a little wider margin than I think a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, impressed with both of these teams, both having played a game yesterday. BYU's later last night, Michigan State yesterday against Chapman. Higher energy levels here. Surely these guys are a bit exhausted from playing a number of games out here in the desert, but a pretty balanced game. It'd be interesting to see as the second half wears on, the secondary players, the bench players for both teams, what role they play as we get later into this game.
Now Malucci with the ball. Moves it to Ensley. Now Solon, quick slide. It's like Ensley has a shorty here, and he gets the ball. This has to be the matchup that Michigan State would really like to take advantage of.
Yeah, BYU should go.
And you see Handley dropping way in as he's looking for that quick slide. Nice look across. That one picked off. Going the other direction is Fulkerson. Fulkerson by. Looks like he thought about shooting it. Opts to pull back out. He's working against a pole, and he moves the ball. It's Jack Fabrizio.
Timeout.
We're gonna get a timeout by BYU with 1:01 left in the half. And BYU an opportunity to go up 2 and take the largest lead of the game.
Yeah, Ensley there probably forcing the issue a little bit. Thought he saw an open man on the backside, but BYU does a nice job picking off that pass, not forcing it in transition. They earn themselves a possession with a minute to go, opportunity to put one up on the board as the half ends here.
And even if Fulkerson hadn't been able to pull that one in, it seemed like it may have been a little behind who he was looking for there. So it may have been a turnover anyway. But like you mentioned, certainly felt a little forced. In 1:01 to go in the first half, in a hard fought game for these two teams.
Michigan State last possession showing a little bit of pressure at different points on the field. Interesting to see here if they go back to that, maybe shutting off with their short sticks, just trying to kind of throw a wrench in it as far as whatever BYU might have just drawn up in the huddle.
It's like Jack Fabricio going to be starting with it. Again, I think if you're either of these two teams, I mean, you have to try and take those shots from the far side of the field, make the goalie look directly into the sun. It's Arbonne, the ball around, space up top. Ooh. Nice fake. Grant can't get his hands free, and there's a shot. Big save again by Alamein. Shot coming from Jordan. And picked up, got some space inside as Alec Grant dives and picks up the ground ball. Jordan now, 20 seconds to go. Solid defense. Jordan gets by his man, trying to fight through three.
Oh, nice goal.
What an individual effort to put the Cougars up by 2 with 13 seconds to go, as Jordan able to fight through 3 green shirts and get that one in top shelf.
Yeah, quite an effort there by Zach Jordan. He does a nice job dodging his man. Slide comes. He's kind of tangled up with a stick under his arm. Shows the strength to keep coming to the middle of the field and get a high bouncer past Alamein. It's a big goal late in this half.
Yeah, certainly a momentum goal going into the half as you see BYU lining up. Again, we've got Mickelson taking the face-off. Probably going to have to push it forward to get any real action going offensively. And you see Nesser dropping down to try and prevent that. And Nesser's there waiting for him. Got his stick stepped on. Michigan State coming in, looking to take the shot, and a big save by Bradenberg. And then a big hit, and no flag. Sounded like that one was a little high, and that's going to do it.
Big save by Bradenberg to end the action.
And the momentum appears to be in BYU's corner right now as they go into the half. Don't go anywhere. We've got a ton of great lacrosse coming your way. Just about ready to get back to the action here at the Reach 11 Sports Complex in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Chris Marshall, joined by Jeremy Sieverts. You are watching the SLC YouTube channel. And we've got a really good game so far. 2-goal lead for Brigham Young over Michigan State. As that ball's still down, Mickelson has a line on it. You see BYU finally able to come up with it as Nesser, and that sun's definitely going to be a problem here for the next 10 or so minutes until it ducks behind that mountain.
Yeah, any pass from the far side of the field is going to be really difficult to handle. So, and even shots from the far side of the field, the glare from the sun is going to be difficult for the goalies to pick up the ball.
Yeah, and then that was Robbins on the shot coming down. But you have to think these teams, recognize that that's going to be a really tough save to make. Yeah, or at least the coaches just tell them.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be only a few minutes here until that sun drops behind the mountains a little bit, but it's certainly something to be on the lookout for, especially just with passes.
Colas trying to get his hands free.
Michigan State opting and continuing to work out of this open set, forcing BYU to slide adjacent or near man.
And that one snatched up by Solon. I mean, I think that BYU has gone with such quick slides that this might be a pretty good look for Michigan State.
Be careful exchanging in front there with pressure, especially from a pole.
Nesser laying some lumber and causing the errant pass as that one goes out of bounds, and the ball going the other direction.
Yeah, really.
Barrett Johnson taking it in.
Ill-advised pass there. You're kind of coming down the middle seam, and you make a pass to the outside, kind of a eject button pass, if you will, and ends up being a turnover.
And you hear the sideline wanting the push there as Jack Fabrizio got into his defenseman. But the ball going to stay with BYU as Bertha.
Some long shadows out there, Chris.
Yeah. Bertha gets his hands free. Can't get the shot off as it knocked out of his stick. And Donovan bringing the ball up. And Donovan can't find his man. Fortunate that that one goes right to Tratt. 12:40 to go in the third. 2-goal lead, and then Tratt throws it away.
Unforced turnover. You hate to see that as a coach. Michigan State working hard in the clear. You look down at Alamang with his hands on his head, frustrated that his offense doesn't earn a possession there after gaining possession and having a successful clear.
Yeah, and it's definitely some of the things that we saw in the game yesterday, unforced errors being the undoing of Michigan State against Chapman. And BYU is not the team that you want to give a bunch of extra possessions to.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about with Michigan State coach yesterday. Just a lot of unforced turnovers in the offensive end of the field, throwing the ball away on passes that aren't leading to shots, and really just making it difficult on themselves, minimizing the number of possessions and the length of possessions that they've had.
Jordan takes the rip. Alamang eats it up. We see a little bit of change on defense as Michigan State opting to throw a pole on Mike Fabrizio rather than trying to shut him off when he's bringing the ball in there. Alamang over to Kearney. Kearney with the crossfield pass. Right on the money. Marvin looking to bring it across. And he does at the 11:22 mark. Loses his footing. Manages to keep the ball on his stick. Nice work by the attack by Joseph Todd to come up and make himself available, but unable to come up with the ball as he's staring directly into the sun there.
A nice job by the BYU ride there. They're getting, in a sense, what they want in having a Michigan State pole bring the ball across the midfield line and then continuing to pressure him as they try and enter the box and ending up throwing the ball away there. So we've seen this over the course of the game, Chris, just a lot of turnovers in the clearing game due to intense ride packages from each team.
And there's Jordan with the ball again for BYU. Moves it to Jack Fabrizio. And back to Jordan. And over to Grant.
Oh, man.
You've seen both these teams struggling with the sun. Probably got another 5 minutes before that thing ducks behind the mountain. And the temperatures start to drop. Nice trail check there. And a good heads-up play bringing that back into the crease. Nearly went the other way. The ground ball trying to flip that one forward, and Arbonne looked like he had it, and that one's going the other way, and that was it's tough to see what was happening. I was looking right at it, and but the ball's staying with Michigan State. Robbins sends it down to Malucci.
See if Michigan State can kind of settle in here offensively, spin the ball, get everybody a touch, and look to get a good hard dodge, draw some attention, a slide from the BYU defense, and create something here in one of their early, really settled possessions of this half.
It's Van Acker moves it. There's Scarpelli. Michigan State all the way up top as Horton tries to clear out. It's by his man, shot from outside, trying to take advantage of the sun for the last few moments. As now the BYU goal, the only thing still in the sun. Nice play by Wiley. Wiley takes the shot, big time save again by Alamang. Alamang taking his time. That's something that we've been talking a lot about, but the ride from both these teams has been pretty tough.
Yeah, I think if you're Michigan State, you got to look to off of a save or a turnover, look to clear the ball quickly as you get a flag down here, and this should be a layup. Oh.
Malucci must have heard you, but that one was one-on-one, nothing but the goalie in the way.
Oh.
And pass behind by Horton, looking for the streaking Scarpelli, and unable to capitalize on that one. I think it's going to be a push with possession, 30-second technical at the 8:38 mark, and a big opportunity for Michigan State to steal some of this momentum back. Again, down 2 goals, unable to get anything really offensively going in that second quarter.
Yeah, this would be a good opportunity for Michigan State to get up on the board. First goal of the second half. This is a good look here.
And that one just sneaks by Bradenburg, and those are the worst kind of goals, ones that hit you in the thigh and still sneak in.
Yeah, nice job there by Michigan State's man-up offense. They playing kind of 3 against 2 up top against the BYU man down. Make a little skip pass, step into a gap. A nice hard overhand shot. Difficult for Brandenburg to track. He catches a piece of him and rolls in over the goal line.
And at the 8:27 mark in the third quarter, the sun is officially behind the mountain, and we've got a 1-goal game. As Mickelson wins it forward to himself. It looks like he's getting inside, thinks about taking the shot. Opts to send it out, and we're going to get a timeout by Michigan State with an opportunity to tie this game up. I know we had a couple of interesting results today around the lacrosse world. Big victory for UNC.
Yeah, just looking at some of the out-of-town scoreboard, if you will. UNC putting up 26 against Manhattan in a 26-6 game. And then the other one we looked at was the Notre Dame-Denver game, and I believe Notre Dame at one point was up 5-1 in that game, but Denver coming away with a win out in Peter Barton Stadium. I believe it was 11-10 final there in Denver.
Yeah, definitely a stadium that you're very familiar with.
That's right.
Coming off of that championship this past year, and speaking about the Outlaws, the open tryouts today, definitely excited to see that happening. I know a couple guys that we know out giving it a go, but one of the few sports where you can actually get out and have a shot to make a team, basically from the street.
Yeah, sort of a Vince Papale type thing. With the Philadelphia Eagles. Last year, I'll give a shout out to Noah Molnar, who out of Lehigh. He's a Newport Beach, Corona Del Mar product. Went to the open tryout for the Outlaws and ended up being invited to training camp and playing in a couple games for the Outlaws last year.
Yeah, might have to show up next year and try out as a coach.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
And we see Michigan State go back into their offense. Huge opportunity here to tie this game up for the first time since 3-3 in the first quarter. Big goal as BYU went on a 3-goal run, and that last goal by Michigan State able to stop that.
Michigan State being pretty patient here in the invert look. The slide comes, they'll look to move the ball to the other side of the field. It's a good opportunity to attack right here.
Back up to Malucci. Malucci wants to take it back behind the cage. Solid fundamental defense from Brigham Young here. It's wily, great footwork.
More invert here out of Michigan State.
Nice swim, turns the corner, nothing there. And nice lift by the defense, able to disrupt that shot. Malucci going to bring it in for the Spartans. Just over 7 minutes to play in the third quarter. They seem to be having the most success in that invert look.
Yeah, something they've gone back to now 3 times. Oh, it's a nice look there.
That one across and just off the
Another
mark,
good look.
moving the ball very quickly, and that one picked off by Nesser. And Nesser making his presence felt today. He's got some quick feet.
Nesser very comfortable with the ball on his stick. He's split dodging up and down the field. In my best guess, I'm sure he played a little bit of offensive midfield prior to picking up that pole.
Yeah, and it's a real luxury to have an LSM that has a stick like that can go down and make an impact on offense.
Yeah, sure. It just makes your clearing game that much better, gives you more opportunities on the offensive half of the field. So Nesser is a nice tool to have there for BYU on the defensive half of the field.
Definitely a Kyle Hartzell, CJ Costabiel type of talent, type of player. As the shot goes out of bounds coming from BYU, that's Bertha, as we come in on 6 minutes to play in the third. Mike Fabrizio bringing it in, quick double. He gets the ball up top, a lot of time and space, takes the shot,
Nice
big
save.
save by Alamang. That was Bertha on the shot once again. Both these teams sending 3-4 guys to all the ground balls. I mean, we talked about that earlier. I mean, these blue-collar teams making sure they're playing hard. BYU finally comes up with the ground ball. Stevens with it. Finds Walcott. Pretty good crowd out here today for this game, considering both these teams traveling today. And there's a shot from outside, just off the mark, coming from Meekum. And BYU, one of the teams that always travels well. Mike Fabrizio gets by his man, takes the jump shot, buries it, and Fabrizio just wasn't taking no for an answer as he pushes the lead back to 2 at the 5:19 mark. We see there was a flag down. Looks like they're going to pick that one up.
Yeah, Fabrizio there, a nice underneath move. He kind of drives upfield, gets the defender to step up on him a little bit. A little quick face dodge, keeps the stick in front of him as he attacks the top of the crease and leaves his feet there to get an angle above Alamang and kind of slam dunk it as he came to the front of the goal.
And Fabrizio, one of those players that has deceptive speed. It doesn't even really look like he's moving that fast when he's out there, but he's by his man in an instant.
Yeah, just as much there. His speed is just the angle he takes and just understanding the spacing that he's created. Once you achieve that angle, you don't have to be the fastest guy in the world. You just maintain your positioning and get to the front of the cage.
There's Mickelson taking the shot and off the mark on the bouncer as it comes back in on the quick whistle with Myers. Now under 5 minutes to play in the third as Horton starts with the ball. Horton working on the shorty. Again, back into that invert set. Horton looking to turn the corner. Can't quite find his man. Malucci there on the backup. Malucci trying to get by Wiley. It's been a nice matchup as Wiley knocks the ball out of his stick. Malucci somehow manages to get that ball to stay in bounds as he dives for it.
Good job.
But nice ground ball.
One
and
more
then an
ahead.
even better pass as Wallace sends the ball up
One
the
more
field.
ahead. Good ride.
But Klinger unable to find another man, and another great ride from Michigan State. We've seen both these teams.
Flag down.
And that's probably going to be a slash. The ball comes down and picked up by BYU. Let's see what the officials have to say about this call.
Yeah, Klinger there, really out of position, swinging his stick. Referees don't need a whole lot there to reach in their pocket and throw the flag. If you're in position a lot of times defensively, you can get away with maybe a brush or a harder check. But once you get out of position, you start swinging your stick, the refs are way more likely to reach in the pocket and throw the flag. That's exactly what you saw there as Klinger was chasing down the field, throwing some pretty big checks.
And 1 for 2 on the extra man opportunities for Michigan State so far today, but could use one here in the closing minutes of the third quarter to cut the lead back to 1. Haven't led since 3-2.
Again, you see this kind of 3 against 2 up top for Michigan State. Nice finish.
And that's a great take from Ensley, getting his first of the day as the senior captain makes it happen.
You know, very similar shot location from where that came on the field. A little bit different setup that time. Michigan State dragging up a little bit of a 3 or 4 man rotation on the man up, and Ensley does a nice job burying that shot past Bradenburg.
And that's one of the hardest places to make a save if you're a goalie. It's off stick. It's a little below your waist. I mean, you gotta move your stick a long way to get in front of that one, and just too much zip on that shot. Now at the 3:39 mark in the third quarter, back to a 1-goal game. And Mickelson just wins another one straight forward to himself. I mean, he's having a lot of success. And that one just off the mark, but
flag down.
We're going to see another flag down going against BYU, and that's a legal body check. And a real big opportunity for Michigan State here, as you see their bench getting pretty fired up with the way they're playing.
Yeah, I think they're sensing it a little bit too. A nice man-up goal there, and then you win a face-off from Mickelson. Now you're back on the man-up again. You know, BYU is doing them a lot of favors and allowing them to claw their way back into this one. So we'll look for Michigan State to do a similar thing on the man-up. They're probably going to get a shot right here.
And that one off the mark, but not having anyone there to back it up, and that's a big mistake by Michigan State.
That's a huge mistake. I mean, that's like passing the ball. That's a turnover right there with a poor shot with no backup. You know, probably 10 seconds into your man up. So, you know, BYU, if they can kill this penalty, that'll minimize a lot of that momentum that Michigan State started to sense there.
And that one comes across and almost scores the goal is Fabricio right front, and Michigan State fortunate to get that ball back. Kind of surprised BYU not holding on to that.
Yeah, as am I. You look for Michigan State to quickly clear the ball here and still take advantage. About 30, 35 seconds probably left in this man up.
And right on the money coming from Alaming to Donovan. Donovan moves the ball up quickly. And again, like you said, a little under 30 seconds to go on this man up. A great opportunity for Michigan State to tie this game up. Gets it back, turns the corner, takes the shot, and that one off the mark. But a possession shot as Malucci backs it up. And you have to think some of the fatigue starting to play a factor for the Cougars as they're throwing some uncharacteristic mistakes in the game right now.
Yeah, playing a lot of defense here in the last couple minutes of this game. And they're all even. They haven't checked up yet. Great save.
Yeah. That's great. Bradenburg all over that one. And now going back the other direction. It's Hundley. And a little too tall on that pass, looking for the over-the-shoulder catch. One of the more challenging catches you're going to have to try and make going at full speed.
Great save there by Brandenburg. That in-between time at the end of the man up, BYU hasn't quite checked up, and Michigan State's able to take advantage of that opportunity, but a great save by Brandenburg.
And there's Jack Fabricio on the trail check able to get the ball out of Horton's stick. And again, more unforced errors coming from these teams. Sorry, more turnovers coming for these teams.
I'd like to see BYU really settle down here. They've been playing a lot of defense and a lot of man-down defense at that. So give their defense a little bit of a break here. Wait for a good shot offensively. Really work their sets here on the offensive side of the field.
You see they get a goal at the end of this quarter, take all the momentum going into the fourth as Fabrizio draws a really quick double.
Ooh.
He gets that one. Fortunate not to hit him right
look.
in the...
Great save.
That's Alaming again getting low, stoning Jack Fabricio on the doorstep. And the last 70 seconds. We're going to do a really nice night here in Phoenix. Temperatures cooling off a little bit. Beautiful sunset coming our way. Alaming tell everybody to go forward. Down to 57 seconds. 10 seconds to get it across. Going to have to do something pretty quickly. Alaming just lobbing it in, and Michigan State players get tangled up.
Another failed clear by Michigan State. Having a really difficult time with BYU's ride where they're matching feet. You know, I think Michigan State's kind of doing the opposite of what you want to do in you know, sending their midfielders deep and covered. You want to bring your guys back or on the defensive half of the field where you have a 7-on-6 and clear the ball.
Down to the last 20 seconds of the quarter. And definitely a missed opportunity by Michigan State, not able to get that ball across the midline. Jordan trying to get his hands free, takes the shot and buries the goal with 9 seconds to go. And that's a huge goal for BYU.
That is a big goal right there. You always talk about goals in the last minute of a quarter meaning a lot, and a very patient last 30-second possession there for BYU. A nice alley dodge and not really much support underneath from Michigan State, and he just buries it overhand high past Alleman.
And again, 8 seconds to go in the third quarter. 2-goal lead, matching the largest of the day for BYU at 7-5. And we talked about Mickelson being very dangerous, able to push that ball forward. Kind of surprised not to see the pole on the near side of the field. Mickelson wins it again to himself. And down to the last 1 second, and that's going to do it for the quarter, as we've got a 2-goal game going into the fourth quarter. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, just about back to the action here at the beginning of the fourth quarter. 2-goal lead for Brigham Young University over Michigan State. I'm Chris Marshall, joined by Jeremy Sieverts, and Mickelson runs right by that one. Might be one of the first face-off wins for BYU. Nesser brings it in, takes the shot, and that one had that far post written all over it. Alleman able to get his stick on it. And Mike Fabricio, nice look across, great cut, couldn't quite find his man. That one going back the other direction as Todd picks it up. Todd able to find the attack as Malucci comes up and gets it. Malucci loses his man. Nice look inside.
Back to him. Yep.
Turns the corner, takes the shot. Another big save by Brandenburg. Again,
good clear.
Quick clear.
Push this
Royce.
pipe. Yep. Goal.
Takes the shot and scores the goal, and that's a big one, pushing the lead to 3. Royce scoring his first goal of the game, and that's 2 goals in the matter of a minute for BYU.
Yeah, you finish the third quarter and then start the fourth quarter with a goal. Michigan State's got to be a little bit frustrated with themselves. A great job there by BYU going from defense to offense and pushing this near pipe to get the goal.
And the largest lead of the game for either team, as BYU up 3 goals at 8-5. Michigan State has got to find a way to capitalize on all of these faceoffs they're winning.
Yeah, that's right. And I think yesterday I noticed in the Michigan State versus Chapman game, winning a lot of clamps and putting the ball out to where Mickelson wanted to, but then losing the eventual ground ball in the possession. And then seeing a lot of that again today. And you'd like to see Michigan State really work hard and not give up until they've touched the ball in the box and have kind of safely gotten that possession.
And on that faceoff, you have Nesser out actually taking the faceoff for BYU, and just kind of letting Mickelson have it, and then just going after him, because Nesser obviously a better athlete, and will be able to keep up with him. And Mickelson, a guy who's really good at the faceoff X, but doesn't necessarily have the same stick as someone you'd like bringing the ball up the field.
Yeah, Nesser's role there is to be more disruptive than anything else, and just kind of keep Mickelson from a clean face-off win. Here's BYU, nice ground ball and getting out.
That's good. Wardle.
Oh.
Wardle going to get back to it. She defers to Hanley. Hanley sends it in. Nice look across. Forced that one a little bit. Ball still down. Looks like it's going to be an offsides call going against BYU. Is Michigan State moving the ball up quickly, trying to. And they're going to send the ball all the way back down to the bottom of the field. And Alleman walks it up, under 13 minutes to play. Still no one able to get open. As Alleman walks it up, he takes it across. There.
Score. Oh.
He takes the shot, ball pops out. And he's got a lot of ground to cover to get back into the cage as he turns, keeps his stick up, and a lot of bravery coming from Patrick Donovan.
Nice
He sticks in the cage. And that one off the pipe, off of Alamang, but Alamang does well to get back and get it. Now we have Horton moving the ball forward. He's able to get past Westcott. And it's one of the first kind of easy clears, if you want to call it that Michigan State's had in quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, they get the ball out quickly is what we discussed earlier, just trying to clear the ball before BYU is able to set up in that settled ride.
Under 12 to play, 3-goal lead for BYU. Still plenty of time for Michigan State to get back in this game. And then hate to see that on the ground balls, trying to roll it back into a stick rather than just running through it is Scarpelli, but works for him. And there's the bouncer, and that one almost sneaks over the corner, over the shoulder rather, of Brandenburg. Cookies, Dodger sticks. You see that one? And that's going playing without your stick, going against BYU. Really could have gone either way as both players lost their sticks. But great defensive play by Van Acker. Steps into the box and moves it down low. Ensley gets inside, looking to make something happen, takes the shot, and scores the goal. Way to not give up on that play by Ensley. He scores his second of the day, cuts the lead back to 2, but fantastic individual effort.
Great job by Ensley there, attacking the top of the crease, shows a great deal of patience and composure as he comes across the face of the goal, throws one last fake to get Bradenburg to commit, and then as he's falling away, buries it just past the hip of Bradenburg.
And then both these goaltenders making it very difficult on the offenses. Opting to go back to the shorty on the faceoff for BYU. Looks like Skosen. Mickelson able to get the one-handed ground ball. And another possession for Michigan State.
Would love to see Michigan State get one here as they throw the ball away.
And Malucci just a little too much on that one as it gets by Danny Myers.
Michigan State probably for the second time this game on the verge of really generating some momentum, kind of gaining steam, and then they just kind of shoot themselves in the foot with an unforced turnover there on an exchange behind the goal.
Bertha sends it back up top. There's the shot and a goal. And that one's Nick Stevens, the senior. And that's a big goal for BYU once again as it pushes the lead back to 3 and taking all the momentum back.
Yeah, just really kind of taking the air out of Michigan State when they've started to kind of get things going. A nice job there recognizing a slow help over from Michigan State. He steps into the gap and takes a nice kind of 3/4 arm bounce shot. That's a tough one for Alamang to handle from that distance.
And lead is back to 3 with 10:22 to play in the game. There's Nesser, tosses it right to Solon, and Solon gets it going the other direction. Unlucky play for Nesser, who actually won that faceoff. But then not giving up on the play, as it's going the other direction for BYU with an opportunity to push the lead to 4. Cuts across the middle, and that one just too tall for Bertha, way in front of him. And heads-up play on the offensive side of the field by the captain, Ensley, as he opts to let that one go as it was off BYU instead of put himself in kind of a tough position.
Yeah, a nice heady play there by Ensley, letting the ball roll out of bounds, letting his midfielder substitute off. Again, Michigan State, I'm not going to say they need to have a goal here, but the storyline of this game so far is kind of getting 1 or 2 goals, and maybe another play, gaining some momentum, and then really hurting themselves more than anything that BYU has done to make things difficult for them. So we'd like to see them get a great shot here on this possession.
Nice look inside, and that one picked up again by Nesser. Great defensive presence as he's able to keep that one in his stick somehow, throws another fake, and then takes a big check in the side for his trouble. Loves those fakes.
Nesser's going to set the record, right, for box fakes coming down the field.
And he's going to get a timeout for BYU at the 9:03 mark. And if you're Michigan State, I mean, when do you need to start pressuring on defense?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to rush right now. You've got over 9 minutes to go. 3 goals is nothing, especially with the talented face-off guy in Mickelson. So I think that they just need to continue to get good shots. I think if they make that their goal coming down on the offensive side of the field, that they'll be okay. Sometimes you try to do a little too much at this point in the game, and that's when you really start to get yourself in trouble. So look for them to play good team offense, dodge, move the ball a couple times, get into that third and fourth dodge of each possession, and then really look for things to open up offensively. You need a big stop here, I think, to keep BYU at bay and keep this from getting to a 4-goal lead with 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, BYU gets another quick goal here, and it might be starting to put this game to bed. You see the teams taking the field again, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better night for lacrosse.
Yeah, I certainly can't complain. This is beautiful weather, great facility, great field, and then these guys are working hard. We've talked a couple times about how many games they played so far this weekend, and hope to see a close game here as the fourth quarter winds down.
And that's one of the things you see with these two teams, scheduling these games all right in a row, is the size of their benches. Both squads, numbering in the 40 to 50 range, and I mean, they've got plenty of guys out there that are ready to play.
Yeah, the depth of each team is crucial. Nice goal there.
Jordan finds the top corner again, and he's been very strong in this second half.
Michigan State there looking like they're pressing out a little bit, making it difficult, and Jordan does a nice job just making one move and continuing to attack the middle of the field. Keeps his feet moving and buries one past Alamang.
Yeah, and it looks like there's no slide coming there, maybe a little bit of fatigue coming into play for Michigan State as we near the 8.5-minute mark in the game.
Starting to get into that point in the game where Michigan State's got to be very efficient with their offensive possessions. Can't afford to be throwing the ball away and really losing possessions on unforced turnovers or errors.
And Nesser doing a really good job neutralizing Mickelson. It's interesting to note that Nesser switched sticks. So I wonder what the story with that is, but switching sticks.
He must have thrown too many box fakes with the last one.
It's all faked out.
Yeah.
Needs a new one. As BYU brings the ball back down.
Oh, wide open inside. Can't find him.
That was just a little bit too far inside. Couldn't get a stick on top of it, but Jordan able to come up and chase the ball down. So he sends it back down low to Royce. Royce finds his man, takes the shot, and that one off the pipe, but didn't look like Alamang was ready for that one at all. And BYU really kind of started to hit their stride in this fourth quarter. Mike Fabrizio starting with it. 7:45 to go. Another fake, cuts inside. Donovan wasn't biting. Now Jack Fabrizio. Skip pass to Jordan. By his man, takes the shot, and that one off the mark. Jack Fabrizio going to bring it in again for the Cougars. I mean, BYU definitely not looking past any scoring opportunities that they've got.
No, not at all, but being pretty patient. This is a long possession. If you're Michigan State, you're down 7 minutes to go, haven't really been scoring goals in bursts at any point in the game. So I think you got to look to start to push the tempo a little bit and maybe go after BYU and some opportunities maybe to double team or extend out. because at the end of the day, you got to score 4 more goals to be back in this game with only 6 minutes to go.
And Arbonne finds the top corner, pushes the lead to 5, and BYU is rolling.
That's just a nice individual effort by Arbonne, just continuing to stick with his dodge. And again, a shot from the middle of the field makes it very difficult for Alamang to make that save.
And it's tough here for Michigan State. They gotta really try and keep this respectable. I mean, the scoreline not really reflecting how close these teams have played thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Michigan State, convert off of these face-offs that they're winning. Winning the clamp every single time, which means you should be able to dictate where the ball is going and use that to your advantage. But again, you win the face-off. 2 BYU guys right there, and BYU looking like they might come up with this.
This ball still down, finally picked up. It's a nice ground ball coming the other direction from Klinger.
Goal. Nice save.
Alamang comes up with the save on the high to low shot, but looks like BYU might come up with the ground ball again. And that one knocked out of Fabrizio's stick and will be going Michigan State's way.
It's been a while since the ball's been down Michigan State's offensive end. I mean, BYU's held the ball offensively, been very patient. Look for Michigan State here. They got to start to work quickly. I mean, you're down 5 with 6 minutes to go. A goal a minute's not impossible, but they got to start here with a good possession.
Colas with it up top. You see BYU getting ready for that quick slide. Back to Colas from Horton. Horton rolls back. It's past his man. Takes the shot. And Brandenburg all over that one. .5:30 to go in the game here at Reach 11 Sports Complex, Phoenix, Arizona. You're watching the SLC YouTube channel. Chris Marshall joined by Jeremy Sievert. It's got a 5-goal game. BYU on top of Michigan State. Westcott for BYU, working against Joseph Todd.
You'd expect BYU with this matchup here to be very, very patient. They don't need to score another goal here. Look to work some time off and just take an opportunity there. As you see, Michigan State's going to have to slide early, and they're going to give them an opportunity. So some patience on the half of BYU would serve them well here with 5 minutes to go in the fourth.
Riccio by his man. Going to turn the corner. Nice switch. Back to Westcott. And that one a little bit too tall for Meekum. Bertha. A little bit of the two-man game up top. It was a Fabrizio down to Westcott. Handles the bounce pass. 4.5 to go. That skip pass, just a little bit too tall for Stevens. As it looked like Michigan State may have gotten a tip on it, but that one is going to be staying Michigan State.
And now I think you're into that point in the game where Michigan State needs to get a goal here. If they don't get one here, it's going to be really difficult. But again, all they need to do is get one, and then the ball's back at the faceoff X, and they have an opportunity to win a faceoff. They've shown to win every clamp almost in this game, and we'll just see if they're able to get one here as the clock ticks down to 4 minutes.
And still having a lot of trouble as they run off sides with that.
This is a dangerous turnover here.
Fabrizio trying to take advantage of the quick whistle, hasn't gotten it yet, and opts to pull it back out right at 4 minutes to go in the game. Still a 5-goal lead. Fabrizio has the shorty. He's working from up top, quick slide, another shorty. As BYU getting their correct personnel on the field. Nice little flip pass and a great ground ball coming inside by Bertha, but takes a big hit. And looked like another big hit coming down through the inside as the scrum keeps going. That's going to be a push going against Michigan State.
So this is really difficult for Michigan State because you got to be aggressive and get the ball back, but you can't afford to get a penalty. You get a penalty, it makes it that much easier for BYU to run this clock out. As you see Michigan State starting to double the ball and really force the issue, it is very difficult to get the ball back without getting a penalty, but the position that they put themselves in here down 5 late.
BYU spreading the field out. Grant. Michigan State not doubling.
BYU almost going into a full, as I'd call red light situation where it's like I'm not even going to worry about going to the goal. Going to wait until the officials force them to go to the goal with the timer on.
Looks like they're probably going to wait until, depending on the discretion here, maybe the 2:30 mark to get the timer on here. I mean, they took the shot, but Westcott comes in and trail check, maybe saving the goal there. 2:24 to play. Mike Fabrizio bringing the ball in. And opting to send the pole down. I think the right call in this situation. And Fabrizio, one of those guys you're going to have a lot of trouble getting the ball out of his stick. Nice look inside to Westcott. Westcott buries the shot, and that's another goal for BYU in this fourth quarter. Pushes the lead to 6 at 12-6 at the 2:09 mark. And this one is just about in the bag for the Cougars.
Yeah, Chris, that should be about it. A nice job by Fabrizio there, running away from his defender with his head up. He makes a nice little box fake to freeze the defense, makes a one more pass, and a routine finish there. Nice job by BYU there, running time off of the clock and finishing it with a tally on the board.
Yeah, it seems like especially in this second half, Alamein having a little trouble with that the off-stick high shot, and BYU taking advantage. Mickelson wins the face-off, trying to get some space inside using his big body. Takes the shot, and that one off the mark.
Turnover.
It's going to be another turnover as BYU, the only team running towards the end line there. And it's another one of those mistakes that's been it's kind of plaguing the Spartans all day. That one almost a great handle. Going back the other direction now.
Nice pick.
Westcott sends it in. Thinks about the shot. Takes it. Buries it. And there's just another goal coming from Skosen as BYU really pouring it on at the end of this fourth quarter. And the D-Midi getting into the action here as we're at the 1:36 mark. And this is starting to get a little tough for Michigan State.
Yeah, nice job there in the ride, picking off a pass and throwing the ball ahead. Once you get that turnover, you want to look to the next line and throw the ball ahead, and that's what they do, and a nice overhand finish to probably all but seal it here for BYU.
And definitely something to think about for these Spartans is how they're going to be able to generate some more offense. They're really in a position where they haven't broken double digits yet, and it's going to be a flag down. It's going against BYU, but they've only been able to muster 6 goals tonight. They scored 7 against Purdue and 6 against Chapman, and you're just not going to win ball games without scoring more goals.
Yeah, which is a little bit surprising, I think, given the amount of face-offs that they're able to win. Talking with Coach Brandon Schwind before yesterday's game against Chapman, he just talked about too many turnovers in the 20s, which you're just not giving yourself. Oh, a nice shot there.
Horton from way outside, able to ping that top corner. Might be a little too little too late, but definitely getting the scoreline a little closer at the end would help them in the polls. And Mickelson marching back out again to take another face-off.
Yeah, Mickelson's got to be pretty fatigued. He's taken, at least 50 face-offs in 24 hours. Certainly a grind for him. He's done a great job, giving a good effort. Need to figure out a way to get his wings more involved. As you see here, he definitely won that clamp, but BYU is going to come up with this ground ball. It's something I've seen plenty of times in this game and also yesterday against Chapman.
Scott turning the corner, taking the shot, but we're going to get man-up opportunity for BYU. And and BYU has gotten to the place where they're just conceding the clamp, as they have a player in Quentin Wiley who hasn't taken a face-off all season and has been playing close defense for the most part, and they're running 2 poles, so they're going to let him have the clamp and then just start harassing him.
Yeah, as we talked about with Nesser, your role there is to just be disruptive and keep the ball on the ground and really just prevent Mickelson from a clean, pinch and pop forward or putting the ball where he wants to. You see them matching up on the wing so he doesn't have an easy outlet, and just trying to really make it a 3-on-3 ground ball and use their athleticism to even out the face-off battle. Talking with Chapman coach yesterday, he expected to be minus 15 in the face-offs, and to me, it looked like Chapman dominated the face-offs despite probably never winning a clamp the whole game. They employed a very similar strategy that BYU is in putting a pole on there against Mickelson. It's paid off for him, and you like to think Michigan State would go back to that in practice and try and figure out a way to get their wings involved so that they can take advantage of an All-American face-off man in Mickelson.
Well, and Chapman is one of those teams, one of the few kind of elite level MCLA teams that over the past 3 or 4 seasons hasn't had an elite level face-off guy. And I've seen them employ a number of different strategies, mainly out of necessity, where they'll run 2 and even 3 poles on the face-off just to give themselves a better advantage for those ground balls and take advantage of the fact that they have such athletic poles.
Yeah, I mean, you're really given no choice when you're facing off against a guy that has that quick of hands and is that talented and just can time the whistle so well. You've really got to forget about the clamp and just hope that you can out-tough him on the ground ball.
Yeah, and Mickelson, a guy too who's a pretty big guy as well. So I mean, if he doesn't beat you with his clamp and his quick hands, he's got some power behind it, and he's able to fight through, get some of the ground balls and do some work.
Yeah.
Wide open on the inside. No chance for Alamang as Grant buries that one and pushes the lead to 14-7 as BYU is doubling up Michigan State. In 43 seconds to go, and that's a really tough break for Michigan State.
Yeah, you're a man or two down there, and BYU really spreads you out. You don't really have much choice if you're Michigan State other than to press out, and you press out and overlook the crease man, and it's just what we talked about earlier. You can't afford to get fouls when you're behind. But at this point, this one's all but done and over and in the book for BYU.
And BYU playing some really impressive lacrosse here in Phoenix, coming away with a couple of really good victories over top-rated teams like Michigan State and Grand Canyon. I mean, Grand Canyon, one of the more talented teams, I think, in the MCLA this season. And BYU made them look pretty pedestrian yesterday.
Oh, nice play there.
Nice look across, and there's another big save by Brandenburg.
Wow.
As he's able to come all the way across the crease. As you see 4 white shirts diving in front of that one, sacrificing the body, even though they're up 7 with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, the BYU fans here on the near side are really thrilled with Brandenburg's play last night and today. He's been pretty solid here in the second half. Hasn't had to do a whole lot, but just makes a nice exclamation point save there to end this one for BYU.
Yeah, and back to BYU on the schedule. They took a loss in their very first game of the season against San Diego State and have not looked back, as they've been very tough, winning 5 games in a row against some pretty good competition. But that's going to do it here at this field tonight. BYU coming away with a 14-7 victory against Michigan State. Looked pretty close early on, tied up. And close towards the end of the third quarter, and then BYU just closed them out. But definitely thank you all for tuning in to the LAX Coaches versus Cancer and watching the game. We couldn't do it without you. Special thanks to Matt Holman for putting together this event, as well as Ted Pendrick and TVX Video for filming it. And special thanks to you, Jeremy. It's a real honor to be able to call these games with you. I hope you had as much fun as I did.
I did. Thanks, Chris.
And as always, I'm Chris Marshall. Stay laxy.